You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell. Sponsored by Absolute Mortgage, a division of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage Corporation. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, October 22nd show, bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events in our local economy and how they can affect your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online at themoneyhour.com. And excited to have my last guest in studio, Holly Furen's back with me from City Closers Real Estate. And we're going to be talking about city changes and how they affect the real estate market. Holly, thanks for coming back in studio.
Thank you for having me.
And a little bit about Holly. Again, she's with City Closer Real Estate. Holly is a third-generation real estate broker and property manager in Seattle at the City Closers Real Estate office. She has over 25 years of personal experience as property manager. She helps her clients acquire investment properties as well as finding tenants for them and managing real properties. She appreciates the relationships she develops with her clients. Holly is heavily involved in the community service as well as being a Girl Scout troop leader, and she knows how Girl Scouts is important to me and my life. Holly, again, I'm really excited to talk to you a little bit about what's happening, changes in the city and how it's affecting our real estate market. So can you share the current climate of the real estate market today?
Yes. Currently, Seattle is the fourth richest city in the nation with the fourth largest homeless population. And we also have the fastest rising rents than anywhere else, which is causing a lot of problems, especially with exploding the homeless population. The city council has proposed a lot of different ways to combat the homeless problem, including cleaning out the long-standing homeless encampments in the jungle, which recently left one man dead, and eliminating Nicholsville, which is while spending a lot of resources on consultants and cleanup. And the current talk is of allowing homeless people to live in public parks, and that has a lot of residents upset.
So how do you think that this could change the market, Holly?
Yeah, some residents are getting fed up with some of the ways that the mayor and the city council are handling the homeless situation. And combined with extremely expensive rental prices, it's discouraging people from wanting to keep living in Seattle, especially with the idea that they can't go into public areas without being confronted with a homeless problem that Seattle's dealing with. Homeowners worry about the value of their homes and the safety of their families, and the suburban areas could see an increase of home sales because people are getting tired of the city.
So, Holly, what are other ways that the city is trying to resolve or help?
Yeah, the city council is already passing ordinances to make sure landlords are not renting unlivable units out by the Rental Registration and Inspection Ordinance called the RRIO. They most recently passed ordinances to enforce the inability to discriminate against Section 8, which was already illegal, as well as creating a requirement for landlords to accept the first eligible applicant of rental homes. Those are some ways that they've been trying to end discrimination and continues to plague some of those who fit into those categories. There was also a new levy recently passed to assist with low-income housing subsidies to expand assistance for those who need it. And the housing linkage fee is supposed to decrease rental prices as well.
So, Holly, do you think that these new ordinances are going to affect the market?
I think that landlords will start to get fed up with all the new rules. The city council has also indicated that they want to put a cap on rental move-in fees, as well as make landlords allow renters to pay their move-in costs in increments. Landlords get tired of managing rentals all the time, so the city makes it difficult to collect security funds. It could flood the market with homes for sale, shifting the market to more sales and less rentals, which is already leaning more into short-term rentals, which the city council has threatened to cap because of the explosion of short-term rental listings, which of course affects our already scarce rental market and subsequently our short-term housing market.
Yeah, and it just depends on which side you're looking, whether renting or owning a home, because, as you know much more than I do, being out in the market every day, I mean, the lack of inventory is, it's really, really a challenge. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. So what should residents know about what's happening and how it could affect the home values as well as rental prices?
I don't think many Seattle residents realize the effects that transit can have, and most have no idea the plans that are going into linking the east side to Seattle. So let's take Bertha, for example. Most people aren't even aware that once the tunnel is in place, all the current flow will be eliminated. And I predict that the traffic will get far worse unless people start relying more heavily on the transportation that's being implemented. I suspect that downtown will become so difficult to drive in that people will be forced to start looking to alternative transportation methods just to get around because they're going to get tired of driving in the city altogether.
So, Holly, what can you do to avoid these possible transit problems?
People who are thinking of buying, like such as the Ballard area, they end up buying in Beacon Hill or the Rainier Valley neighborhoods where they can get more house for less money and have better access to the transit that's already existing. I've had several buyers who've started out looking in Ballard and then end up buying near Columbia City because there was better transit. And they could buy a home for nearly half of what it costs in Ballard with a view of Lake Washington. Once buyers discover that there are neighborhoods that offer many more transportation options, people will end up buying homes that are closer to that transit access. That is already becoming the new trend. So to answer your question, people will have to move more closer to that transit or find alternative methods to driving their cars.
Yeah, which is, in the city, it's the prices and the cost associated to buying in the city. So, it may not be that bad if you can get a little further out, get a better home, as long as the transit, as you said, if you're able to commute back and forth to for your employment. So, Holly, do you think that the city's doing enough to improve the transit system or issue that we're having now?
Yes, they do plan to expand mass transit to Ballard and West Seattle, and that will definitely ease up a lot of the congestion that comes out of those neighborhoods. There was recently something, because that's going to be something to be voted on, and the opponents are saying there's not enough restrictions. It could blow up the taxpayers' obligation for an indefinite amount of time. So there is some pushback, but, they eventually will intend to expand light rail also over I-90, which will cause even more congestion because the cars commuting on the express lanes will have to join everybody else. And it will ease up a lot of traffic overall. Again, if they start utilizing the light rail systems that are going to be implemented, it will cause homes near those light rail stations to increase the value the most.
Well, I have to say that things seem to be a little bit better on 520. I'm not avoiding as much as I used to with I-90, so we're seeing some improvement. So let's talk a little bit more on the real estate side, Holly, because as I mentioned in your bio, you do work with a lot of renters as well as you work with home buyers and home sellers. What are you seeing challenges right now for sellers? Think that this is just a perfect market for them, but in any market, there's challenges for everyone. What are the challenges that you see for sellers right now?
Yeah, it's still very much a seller's market. I find that if sellers are not prepared to sell their home, if they don't do a pre-inspection, if they don't have a lot of, if they don't stage their home, if they don't clean the urine smell out of their home, they're going to find their home's going to sit on the market for a little bit. And I see that homes are trying to reach for the highest amount they think they can get, which they always end up, and they sit on the market for a couple weeks, they cut the price, and then they sell for less. So that's the trend that I'm seeing in the seller's market right now. So
it seems like regardless of what market we're in, whether we're a buyer's market or seller's market, the advice is still the same for the seller. You want to prepare your home so you can maximize your dollar. You want to make sure that you price it correctly so it's not on the market and, just as you said, having a lower price. So regardless of the fact that it's such a hot market for sellers, you still want to strategically plan to make sure that you maximize those opportunities in the shortest amount of time.
Absolutely.
Now, buyers, they've got all kinds of challenges that are going on, but what are you coaching with your buyers and helping them navigate through the environment that we're in for them?
Yeah, both renters and buyers, it's the same story. If you see it, if you like it, apply for it now, because tomorrow it will be gone. So that's the common theme I'm finding with my buyers, if they want to spend a few days even to think about the purchase. by the time they decide that they want to make a move, it's still a very, very fast-paced market.
Yeah, so if you're a buyer out there, you've got to really be prepared, have your ducks in line, and also make sure that you know what you really want in a property, what you're willing to give up, and also the maximum that you're willing to pay. Because when you're going in and needing to increase that price to be competitive in the market, you've got to have that stop number so you know exactly what you're willing to do and not do. And I think what I've, not on the real estate side, but at the financing side, just talking with clients that lose out on offers, because we're always having a conversation preparing them to make that offer. And then when they lose it, you notice that the conversation's a little bit different. They're seeing a different sense of urgency. And I just kind of feel bad because it's sad to go through 3 or 4 times and lose a house and then figure things, out on that sense of urgency. So if you can do it early, it's going to help.
Yes.
It's going to help a lot. So Holly, what about with your renters? What are you advising them to do to navigate for them in the rental market?
It's funny because this is really the best time to buy in the winter. Nobody wants to buy. They all get tired of looking. They want to keep renting. And then that does the same thing every year. Everybody in the springtime gets excited and they all get in the market at the same time, which is more of a challenging time to buy. So I think that this is really the best time to keep looking and not slow down that momentum at all.
Yeah. So it's during the holidays, get out there and see what's available in the market, not have as much competition. But what about the renters that are out there trying to find rental properties?
Yeah, that's an even tougher one because it seems that if people are spending the kind of money that they are on the rentals,
that's crazy.
They might as well buy.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are still challenged with purchasing because they may not qualify for a loan, or they might have to be waiting for a little bit more time. And sometimes they miss that mark. They wait too long, and now they're priced out.
Exactly.
So if they can stay in their rental properties, which it can be also a challenge because people want to sell those properties after they realize that they can get more money by selling it than to continue renting it. And it's...
And I always say from the money side of it with renters, because you just mentioned, Holly, with the fear of not being able to get a mortgage. Yes, I mean, you have to fit within a box, but the boxes, there's a lot more availability for financing. There's grant programs available. You can get into a home zero down, not have to pay that money back depending on where your income's at. There's loan programs available through FHA, government sponsored program that you can get in with pretty low credit score, 580, as if you've got some challenges going on, but you can get in and buy a $500,000 home. So, I mean, there's financing out there. I think the challenges really come in the income arena, that you really have to be able to verify and show that you make that money. And thank goodness, because we don't want to get into another financial meltdown that like we had before when it was too easy for financing. So whether you're thinking of putting on your home on the market to sell that property, or you're looking at buying, or for those of my listeners out there renting, just really get in and talk with an expert, find out what your options are. Don't miss out on an opportunity or miss out on maximizing your opportunity because you don't have the right information. Holly, thank you so much for coming back in studio. Look forward to having you again soon.
Yeah, thank you.
And this is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll be here same time, same place next weekend, right here at 11:50 a.m. at KKNW.